What's up, you guys? Welcome back to this week's Manga Sutra Manga review, and in this week's video we're going to be talking about a fantasy mystery drama called Yume. Now, the manga starts off with a fight in the fantasy world with a warrior and his winged humanoid companion fighting a nightmare creature. Now, the beginning of the manga was a bit frustrating to read because the artwork was a bit messy. It was hard to interpret what was going on in the panels. I didn't know where the nightmare creature ended and where the winged companion began. I didn't know whether the warrior was landing hits on the monster or whether the monster was dying or whether it was transforming. But after the fight concluded, we learned that the warrior and his companion are a part of an online game that revolves around dreams, where these nightmare creatures are able to consume players' dreams. Players are able to craft environments or scenery using their own dreams, as well as forge and create items using certain materials. We also learned that the male warrior is actually a female social worker in real life who is a part of a child abuse case for the girl named Shizuka Takamori. Now, the reason that the social worker created a character for the game is because the young girl, Shizuka Takamori, has disappeared after a case was opened about physical abuse that she was experiencing from her father. And the social worker remembered that the girl talked about this game before she disappeared. Now, it is the social worker and the detective's belief that the companion, aka Yuka, is Shizuka Takamori. And they believe that if they continue to stay in contact with her, that they might be able to trace her location and save Shizuka Takamori before it is too late. Now, Yume is 3 chapters long. It's not a one-shot, but don't be expecting several long chapters. These chapters are of moderate length, and the plot is relatively straightforward. There are a couple of plot twists towards the end, and some of them are predictable. Now, what I like about Yume plot-wise is that it really focused on child abuse and the effects of child abuse on the child. And it also made a point to focus on escapism and how people tend to run away from or ignore their real-life problems by focusing on virtual reality, projecting their own identities onto these online characters that they create. And that is very relevant to me because I have played online games. I have played, MMORPGs. And it is a good feeling, to project yourself into this online character. You're able to interact more freely online. You're able to be yourself more. You have a lot more things that you can do online. You have a lot more freedom online with your character. You can customize it the way you want. You can train it the way you want. If you want to be skinny or fat, tall or short, you can do that. If you want to be mean, you can do that. If you want to be super nice, you can do that. If you want to be super creepy, you can do that. And then some of these games, they have social interactions with NPCs and like Star Wars, The Old Republic, like you have companions and relationships and friendships and all that, and it's good to have those things and it's good to focus on that. But Yume was making a point of escapism to the point that you get sucked up in it. You get lost in this virtual world and you lose track of reality and you lose track of yourself. I don't think Yume really hit it on the head towards the end as strongly as other mangas have. I didn't get a strong emotional reaction towards the end how I think I should have felt. Because the way it ended, some characters got a really raw deal. And some characters got what they deserved. And I should have been happy. I should have been sad at some points. But I'm going to elaborate on it. The art style as well as the plot and as well as some of the character development really hindered me feeling attached to the manga and attached to the plot and attached to the ending. With mangas like Abitsu and I Am a Hero and Bakemono-chan, they managed to get or elicit a response from me. Abitsu, I felt devastated towards the end of Abitsu. And I felt devastated towards the end of I Am a Hero. With I Am a Hero, I felt empty at the end. I felt like I kind of reached the end of the road and I don't know where to go any further. With Abitsu, I was just in outright sadness and then anger. that they would just do that to that character, that they would just end it the way they did. And with Bakemono-chan, it had a very strong moral lesson at the end that kind of hits you right in the face, and it wasn't too strong that it made you dislike the manga. It really makes you sit back and think. But with Yume, I just don't think it had that type of weight to it from a, moral standpoint, and especially from an emotional standpoint. And the reason I don't think it had that weight is because, one, it was 3 chapters long, and these weren't extremely long chapters either. So there wasn't really much time or room to get too attached to certain characters, as well as the art style that Yume has. At the beginning, I said it was atrocious because I couldn't really discern what was happening in the fight scenes. But as the manga progresses, it starts to get more crisp and it starts to get more sharper. But the art style for the characters is very simple and monotonous. And you don't really see any strong facial reactions from any of them. You don't really see any strong emotional expressions either. And the only strong emotional expression we really get is towards the end of the manga with one character. And I feel like, at least for me, I need facial reactions. I need a little bit more emotional expression from the characters in order to feel tied to them, in order to relate with them. And most of the characters in Yume had a very neutral or blank expression on their faces. And things I think could have been done in Yume is explore a little bit more on the social worker's life and what's going on inside the social worker's head, as well as what's going on with the detective. I felt like we just kind of visited them every now and then, and they was just really supporting characters to the rest of the story, but I really felt like they should have been the main focus, especially with how the manga ended. I felt like a little bit more could have been explored on how the detective was feeling and how the social worker was feeling. I kind of felt it was cute at the end with the social worker, but I feel like the detective was a lost point. They could have explored a little bit more about maybe his frustration about this search for Shizuka Takamori, or his confusion at how the things ended or how the way the manga ended. But they didn't really explore any of that. And I was kind of frustrated with it. So it just left me not really feeling as attached to Yume as I should have been. And the ending didn't really make me feel as heartbroken as I should have been. And mostly that was because midway through, towards the end of chapter 2, I could already tell what way we were going. I could already tell how it was going to end. And that's why some of the plot turns and twists did not really surprise me. And I was just like, oh, okay. Yume is pretty good. It's pretty good. Its art style is different from a lot of other mangas out there. But I just don't like the monotonous, very neutral face expressions that they have. And trust me, I hate that. And I know the artist and the author for Bakemono-chan has a couple of mangas where the main character has like a blank and neutral, emotionless facial expression most of the time. But it works for them because with the writer and artist of Bakemono-chan, a lot of the works that they do, I think Asano Inio, a lot of his works have a lot of deeper messages to it. And Yume just didn't seem to possess that type of deeper message to it that I believed would have allowed it to get a pass with the art style that it did. And I would have felt Yume would have been a lot better if it went on for more than 3 chapters. If it actually managed to stretch it out, I'd say at least 10. Then it would have given a lot more space to explore some of the characters, some of the other players in the game, as well as Yuka's thoughts. And, it would have just gave me a little bit more time to feel connected to everything before the ending just kind of went the way it did. This is VM. Would I recommend reading Yume? It's 3 chapters. You're not really going to lose out on reading 3 chapters. Give it a try if you want to, but don't get too frustrated if you don't really want to read it. You're not really missing out on anything, but it's definitely not too much of a waste of time either. This is VM. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Also like my Facebook page of the same thing. I'm going to leave a link to my Facebook page in the description. Bye.